Our two speakers this evening, Catherine Stirling, whom I'll introduce in a minute, and we're fortunate to have also with us Ranger Liz Schilder, if I got that right. And I'll let Catherine introduce Liz, but let me go ahead and introduce Catherine. Catherine Stirling has been a Hillsmere resident for 8 years and recently served on the board of the Friends of Quiet Waters Park, where she chaired the environmental committee. Last year, she organized the Celebrate the Night Sky event during International Dark Sky Week that brought together astronomers and members of the public locally at the park for stargazing and to learn about nighttime light pollution from the president. Was he the former president? Or
yeah, he just finished his term.
Was now the former president of Dark Sky International. In fact, that's where I first met Catherine. And I think Kristen I met there as well, and other folks who are probably part of this audience. Catherine is also a Maryland master naturalist and is particularly fascinated by insects and their role in nature. So without further ado, let me turn it over to Catherine.
Thank you. So everyone here knows already about how light pollution affects our ability to view the stars and planets. So I'm here to tell you about an organization that I'm involved in. It's Dark Sky International. It was started in 1988 out in Tucson, Arizona, but right now it's a worldwide organization. And there are 90 chapters around the world. And 2 years ago, we started a chapter here in Maryland, so it's Dark Sky Maryland. And our approach is basically to encourage people not to fight against natural darkness with even brighter lights and glare, but to sort of embrace the night, discover the wonder of it, and also understand the multitude of reasons to try to protect the sky. And my interest in this effort was triggered when I was out in Sequoia National Park in California a few years ago. And I went on a nighttime hike with a member of the conservation team out there. And it was mind-blowing. I mean, it's very, very dark out there. There isn't really hardly any light pollution. It's probably a Bortle scale too. And you could see everything. And she had her green laser pointer and was showing all the planets and the Milky Way and everything. And it was breathtaking. And then the next week, when I flew home, I took the red eye, and I've never taken the red eye before, and I'm lousy at flying in planes. So I have to sit by the window and look out the window the whole night. And I spent the entire time taking pictures with my cell camera. And the only part of the country that was somewhat dark was when I was flying over sort of northern Arizona and New Mexico. For a little while, it got dark there. But there, I have this series of lights all the way across the country. So I'm like, okay, let me see what else I can do to get involved in this effort. So the first thing I'm going to do is to show a video that Dark Sky International put together to sort of set the stage for what we're going to be talking about tonight. Let's see. Dark. You have to.
Yeah, I just have to enable it.
Okay.
Okay, good.
On the surface of a planet, spinning on its axis once every 24 hours. Its rhythms of day and night are embedded in the biological makeup of all life. During the day, we bathe in the glow of the sun. As night approaches, darkness takes over. It's a time to rest, to rejuvenate, to marvel at the beauty of the night. Until just over a century ago, our night skies were very dark. Now, Even the wilderness is invaded by light. Our cities glow at night. Buildings are lit up. Unshielded lights blind us as we travel along our streets and roads. All these artificial lights overpower the darkness. The waste of energy is obvious, even from space. Much of that yellow glare the astronauts see comes from streetlights. They produce most of the light pollution on the planet. The glare is scattered by the atmosphere, creating sky glows over the landscape. We are losing the dark of night at the speed of light. Light pollution threatens the health of every living thing on Earth. Lights at night disrupt plant growth. Unshielded lights contribute to the deaths of countless land and sea animals each year. Migrating birds crash into illuminated buildings. Newly hatched sea turtles mistake the glow of electric lights for the shimmer of the ocean's surface. Bright lights at night also directly affect humans. Drivers and pedestrians temporarily blinded by poorly designed lights have suffered tragic accidents. Light pollution poses a silent threat to our health. Exposure to light at night disrupts the circadian rhythms that regulate our sleep cycles. People working at night under bright lights or living in light-polluted cities face a higher risk of developing diseases such as breast and prostate cancer. Here is a night sky with typical light pollution. On a good night, only the brighter stars and planets pierce the glow. This is what the night sky might look like if we could remove the light pollution. That faint band of light stretching across the sky is the Milky Way, our home galaxy. Because of light pollution, many people have never seen it. Astronomers know all too well the problems caused by lighting up the night. They need clear, dark skies to study the many fascinating objects in the universe. Light pollution simply washes out their view of the cosmos. Lighting up the night sky wastes money and fossil fuels. To keep a 100-watt light bulb turned on every night for a year takes the equivalent energy output from burning half a ton of coal. Multiplied by the billions of lights blazing up from Earth, the cost of energy we use to light up the night is colossal. While lighting is needed, there are some simple things we can do to ensure that it's neighborhood-friendly, energy-efficient, and helps preserve dark skies. We can replace light fixtures that send light up to the sky with ones that direct light down, exactly where we want it. They're called fully shielded fixtures. We can also illuminate only the places that need it. And of course, we can just turn off unnecessary lights. These are smart ways to use lighting. They offer simple solutions to problems caused by light pollution. We have a choice between wasting resources by sending light to the sky or learning to use light more responsibly. Light pollution is a problem each of us can help solve. Together, we can bring back the dark of night to planet Earth.
So sort of moving on, light pollution is increasing worldwide at almost 10% annually. So it's 9.6% worldwide. And what I want to sort of do in this talk is explain the impact of this and how individuals and communities can really have an effect on this at relatively low cost. This image shows the increase in light pollution across the United States over 4 time periods from since it was tracked from the late 1950s to the mid 1970s to 1997 to 2025. And I'm going to let it run a couple times so you can see how quickly in the past couple of decades it's been spreading across the US. It's very dramatic. And the next slide is a GIS light pollution map of Maryland by Esri. And this shows Maryland, and Annapolis is sort of circled in blue, although we're really sort of at the upper left of the blue circle. And the areas in pink are the most highly light intensive areas. Dark blue or medium blue are the darker areas. And you'll see there are not too many in Maryland. Down on the Eastern Shore at Blackwater Wildlife Refuge, that's a very good place to be able to see the night sky. They have a wonderful astronomy program there. And then up in Western Maryland, there's some areas as well. And this map is used by the National Park Service. So there, as mentioned, sort of 3 types of nighttime light pollution. Sky glow here, you can see how much it covers the lower part of the sky, and then it's shining upwards and it's making the Milky Way just very faintly visible. Many, many stars you can't see at all. And light trespass. In this example, what they probably wanted to do in this community is light the pathway so people walking at night could see where they were going. But because they put in lights that shine sort of 360, it's shooting it up in the air. It's also shooting it into people's rooms, bedrooms and living rooms and so forth at night when it's really not necessary. And there are many ecological impacts of light pollution on people, but also on a myriad of animals that depend on the night sky, whether they're using the dark to sleep, like nesting birds, or to hunt, or to migrate. And I wanted to mention just a few animals. Salamanders. Did you know that woodland salamanders, do you all know salamanders, sort of like lizards? But they're a terrestrial species that comes out at night. And they play an oversized role in carbon sequestration. During rainy season, 170 pounds of carbon can be sequestered on a single acre by them. And that helps mitigate against increasing temperatures. And then you have spiders. There are many of them are active at night, and they're pollinating flowers. And then you've got pollinators. And there's a lot of research that's been done on pollinators recently and how the lights at night affect them. They affect butterflies during migration, moths, bats, bees, beetles, and fireflies. And fireflies is a particularly interesting example. If you like fireflies, they're considered sort of a charismatic insect. And they have to flash to see each other, the lights. And the female fireflies are on the ground. The male fireflies are up in the tree. And if you've got lights on in your yard at night, and there tend to be sort of yellow or white lights, and the females and males are trying to find each other, they're flashing, but they can't see the flashing. So they can't meet each other and reproduce and so forth. So there are a couple options. You can turn off your lights, or you can do something what I did at home. And I have red spotlights. So if I need to like let my dogs out at night or something in my yard, I turn on red lights. Animals, my dogs don't see the red light. Insects don't see the red light. Birds don't see the red light, but people do. So I can go out in the yard and see what's going on, but no animals are bothered, whether you're talking about the smallest or the biggest, which is kind of an interesting thing. But there are many night pollinated fruits and vegetables, which you might not realize. Apples and strawberries are pollinated by moths. Tropical fruits like bananas and agave that's used for tequila are pollinated by bats. Squashes. There's a particular type of bee, a squash bee, that pollinates squash. And recent studies have shown that moths are more efficient pollinators than bees. but their pollinating ability may decrease by up to 62% by artificial lights. There are 160,000 species of moths, and there are only 17,500 butterfly species. But generally, people don't have much interest in moths and find them kind of irritating when they're fluttering around the lights, outdoor lights at night. But that frantic behavior is actually a sign of moths in crisis. And scientists who focus on moths think that the moths use the moon to give them a point of reference for navigating via something called optical infinity. So the moon's light is far enough away and at a constant angle that it helps moths fly in a continued way in one direction. So if they're out at night going about their business and they're confronted by a number of yellow or white lights that are close up, they lose their way. They're seriously confused. So that's an example of just turning off your lights, and that's a moth over there. So plenty of moths are really interesting looking. They're not just the dusky gray brown moths that you might think of. There's a lot of neat things about them. And I'm sure all of you like chocolate. Who likes chocolate? Well, you're not going to have chocolate if you don't have cacao trees that are flowering. And cacao trees' flowers are really, really teeny. They're about a ½ inch. And it takes an entire night for the flowers to open before they can be pollinated. And they're pollinated just as the sun is rising in the morning by these teeny insects called midges, which are a type of fly. They're about the size of a mosquito, but they don't have the mouth parts of a mosquito. And if we didn't have nighttime darkness, we wouldn't have chocolate. Marine light pollution is a topic that's getting a lot more discussion these days. Europe is way ahead of the United States on our progress in paying attention to this area. But it's a growing area, and the Chesapeake Bay in particular is sort of a study area that Dark Sky is interested in. The lower photograph is one I took last year during Celebrate the Night Sky, and it was taken at the South River overlook, looking across the South River towards the community of Lock Haven. And you can see, this is late at night. There aren't any boats out sailing or whatever. I don't, but they've got these lights that are streaming across the river. I've been talking with them about trying to reduce the light pollution there. But I did want to say the Hillsmere Marina has made some nice progress on that. Dennis and I were asked by some residents nearby to come down and look at the marina lights. We did some measuring of the lights. We got in touch with Dark Sky as a specialist, got his PhD in electrical engineering and knows this topic, and made a bunch of suggestions. And Steve Vanderbosch was interested in it too and talked to his electrician, and they've been able to tone the lights down there. But unfortunately, they still want the lights on all night long, when it would be really great if they could turn the lights off or turn half the lights off at night, or at least turn them off during bird migration season in the spring and fall. But I do applaud what they've been doing so far, which is good. But one interesting fact is zooplankton. I don't know if you kids know about zooplankton, but yeah, cool. All right. Well, this is interesting. Did you know that at night they move up the water column to the surface because they want to feed on the surface? But when they're bright lights that shine on them at night, they don't rise up to the surface to feed. And the animals that then feed on the zooplankton can't find them. So that's an example of how the entire food web and health of aquatic ecosystems is affected by people shining lights on the water pretty unnecessarily at night. And then there are birds. According to the Environment for the Americas, to avoid turbulence of daytime thermals, 80% of North American birds migrate at night. And this is when, they get into trouble. I'm sure you've all heard about these big urban collisions where a mass of birds will slam into tall buildings that are lit up in cities at night. But actually, suburban and rural nocturnal strikes cause more deaths. These areas are more numerous across the country. And the average single-family home kills between 1 and 3 birds every year. And in North America, so that's the US and Canada, about 988 million birds are killed annually from nocturnal lights. And birds migrate at night using light cast by the moon, stars, and planets. They have a physiology in their avian eye that processes images at high speed. So they see the movement of the moon, stars, and planets in real time. And that heightens their migratory accuracy. So that's all great unless a stronger light gets in their way. And that's human lights, which cause glare and sky glow and leads to situations like this. Then there are even trees that are affected by nighttime lights. In this example, the top picture you can see on the left, there's a street light, and in the bottom picture, there's a street light on the right. In the top picture, it's fall. The leaves have fallen off the tree, except where the light is shining on them all night long. It's affected the way the tree grows. And in the bottom picture, you see the leaves are still green near the street light, but the rest of the leaves are already changing color. So this disrupts the natural cycle and affects their immune system. And their internal clocks can be tricked to delaying dormancy in the fall and leafing out too early in the spring. So it throws off the ecosystem balance and animals that depend on them for flowering at certain times of year. So just as people need rest at night, trees need rest at night. There's energy waste. We can save a tremendous amount of dollars if we figure out how to rein in our lighting. So $3 to $7 billion is spent yearly around the world on unneeded lighting. That means 21 million tons of carbon dioxide is burned, and approximately 35% of worldwide lighting is just going up into the air. So it's wasted. It's not lighting up anything that anybody needs. And then there are human health effects. The video talked about that a little bit, but the natural secretion of melatonin is suppressed when people are exposed to nights at light. It disrupts the circadian rhythm. And over on the table here, I have a paper by the American Medical Association, which has documented the effect of lighting at night on people. And that means increased risks of hormonally linked cancers, such as prostate and breast cancer, as well as pancreatic and thyroid cancers. And there's a recent study in China that has found links between diabetes and high level of light pollution. So people should be concerned for themselves as well. And in this picture, it's somebody's house, and you can see there's a door there, and their light outside isn't shielded at all. It's going in 360 degrees the way it's shining. And it's actually not the safest way to do it. Because do you see a stalker in this image? Well, let's look at the next image. If you use this hand symbolizes if there was a shielded light there instead. In both images, that man is standing right there. You can't see him in the top picture because the round, bright light is only shining up a small area, whereas you have it directed downwards. You can see farther. You're actually creating a safer design of lighting. So dark sky's position isn't to turn off all lights. It's to, come up with a smarter design for the lights that you want to use and not to create glare with them. And likewise, there's been documentation by the AMA on car headlights, the new type of car headlights that are really bright blues and whites tones. Those make it very hard for people to see. So you can see directly in front of your car very well, but you can't really see what's going on the side of the road. You can't see if a deer is going to run out in front of your car. You can't see somebody walking on the side of the road because they're just outside that super, super bright light. And people driving in their cars towards you also have problems seeing. The United Kingdom did a study that found 2/3 of drivers are regularly dazed by the new generation of headlights. The older type of headlights we had that are more yellow toned were much better because you could see more broadly. You were truly safer. And, there are LED lights in all these tones. So it's not that LED lights are bad. LED lights aren't bad. They save energy. They're good. You just have to pay attention to the color tone and the lumens of the brightness of them. Here's an interesting example. This is Los Angeles, all lit up at night. And in 1994, there was an earthquake that caused a large outage. The earthquake occurred at night and it caused a large outage across the city. So the city was really dark and it was nighttime. So all these people came outside to look around to make sure, to get out of the building and make sure they were okay. And they're looking up in the sky and they see this really big gray cloud. And the Griffith Observatory, which is the big observatory out there, started fielding a lot of calls that night about people who were scared about, okay, we've just had this earthquake. What is this big cloud up there? Well, guess what? It's the Milky Way. And it's the first time the residents of Los Angeles were able to see the Milky Way. So I'd sort of say Dark Sky's got 5 principles for responsible outdoor lighting. And these are things that we think everyone can do if they're motivated to do them. So, and I have cards that everybody can take about this over on the table. So you want to ask yourself, is the light useful? Just use it where it's really needed. Is it targeted so it falls directly on what you want to light up? Is it low level so it's no brighter than necessary? Is it controlled? Can you use a motion timer? A motion detector or a timer? Have you thought about how often you need it on? And also, is it warm colored, the bulb, that means? So going more towards the yellows or the amber tones instead of the really bright whites and the blues. It's also very helpful if you're in your home at night to close the shades or curtains in brightly lit rooms to prevent the light from escaping outside. And this is the flip side of the postcard that's over there that you all can take. And you can see pretty graphically, clearly, the effect of shielding over on the right and how you can see the stars and how things get progressively worse as you move over to the left until you really, with the 360 lights, you can't see anything. So, yeah. Then this is sort of a call to action. If you want to join Dark Sky International, they have an absolutely amazing website. They have incredible amounts of information from very specific examples about the type of lighting you might want to use in your home. There's lighting that's Dark Sky certified. You can also sign up with Dark Sky Maryland to help us locally. We're a really small group. There are only 5 of us on the board. We've been working, last year we got some legislation we helped get passed by the governor. We're doing some educational things. So we're a small group, just sort of getting started, and we'd love to have more people that were involved. And this is a video that I'm going to start now. This is made by National Geographic. It's a short video. And what it does is I don't know if you all know what the Bortle scale is, but the Bortle scale is used to measure light pollution at a specific location. And class 1 is the darkest. Class 9 is the brightest. And if you look in the sort of left corner as the video is playing, you'll see what the Bortle scale is of the different images that they're showing here. That's an 8. Seven. A 6. This is often what Annapolis is. 5. You see the Milky Way. This is a 4. That's a 3. That's pretty impressive. Doesn't get too much darker than that. Two again. And that's the one in Death Valley. So I just want to mention a few things in conclusion. There are a lot of handouts over here. Last year, so Dark Sky asks for proclamations from government organizations for International Dark Sky Week, which is always celebrated in April and during a week where there's a new moon. And this year it's being celebrated from April 13th to April 20th. And we're hoping people, especially that week, will think about turning off their lights and walking outside at night and looking around. And last year, for the first time, Governor Moore in Maryland issued a proclamation. Stuart Pittman has done it now for 3 years, which is wonderful. I've already got a proclamation in from the new mayor of Annapolis, Jared Littman, which is great. We've got a proclamation there from the county executive of Montgomery County as well. So that's one of the things that we try to do to get some more attention to this issue. And there are other handouts for you to take home or references, but I also urge you, if you're interested in this topic, to go to darksky.org website. I mean, it's a massive website of lots of interesting information. And I wanted to briefly mention two recent concerns these are two organizations that have put requests before the FCC. This month, comment period closed. One is an organization called Reflect Orbital. It's a California-based company, and they have proposed to put satellites up in the air, quite a number of them, that will have mirrors so they can, the mirrors can turn, so they will collect sunlight and reflect it down to Earth at the angle needed to light up Earth at night. And each satellite will be able to cover about a 5-mile area and make it seem like it's daytime. And their proposal is we'll be able to light up cities at night this way. We'll be able to send power down to power up solar farms at night. This will make everybody safer. So yeah, that's something to be concerned about. And the FCC does not consider the environmental impact when it's making these decisions. So chances are it may pass through the FCC. And they've got a lot of money raised now. I don't know that it's really going to work. There's dark skies all over this issue. A lot of others are on top of this issue. And then there is SpaceX. At the same time, SpaceX has a proposal, comment period closed about a week ago. And their request is to put up 1 million satellites, not immediately, but over a period of time in the air. And the idea is that these satellites will become data centers up in the sky. And if we're doing it, I can tell you the Chinese are getting ready to do this. The Canadians had a contract with SpaceX, and they've canceled that with everything that's been going on. But now they're gearing up their own satellite companies to be able to go up in the air and do things like this. So when you think of the junk that's going to be up in the sky, it's pretty massive, and that's creating a fair amount of light in and of itself. So those are real concerns. But sort of on a more upbeat note, Dark Sky International does certify places around the world that they consider dark sky compliant. And depending on the type of place it is, whether it's a park or whether it's a city, they have different criteria to meet. And so far, 250 places have been certified. Recently, the city of Pittsburgh, which is amazing for a big city, got certified. Tucson's been certified. And then there's small parks. Like when the president of Dark Sky International was out last year for Celebrate the Night Sky, he said to me, "This park's amazing. It's dark here. You ought to be applying to have that certified." And so I'm starting that process. And that Maryland so far has no certified dark sky places. There are a few places that are applying it for different categories, but I'm hoping to be able to get dark sky to certify Quiet Waters Park. Did you have a question, Rick?
No, that was what I.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it is a lengthy process. It can take up to 2 years. They're very careful the way they do this. It's not done casually. So we're starting on that process. And Dark Skies also will have a lot of information on astrotourism. So if you're interested in going out someplace to go camping or join some programs at night, go to their website and they'll tell you places around the country where you can go and do this. There are places in Virginia. I think there are 3 places in Virginia that are certified dark sky parks, and they have a number of places where you can go. There are programs in Pennsylvania, and then of course you can go out in the West, and there are quite a few things. And then last thing I wanted to point out is if you're interested in sort of a general book that talks about the effect of nighttime light pollution on wildlife, Night Magic, and I have my sample of the book over there, by Leanne Hennian, is an amazing book. She is a writer based in North Carolina, and it's spellbinding. She goes out in the dark and she writes about everything she sees, and it's amazing. You can hardly put it down. It's also the type of book where you just read a chapter at a time. You don't have to sit down and read the whole long book at once. So I recommend that to you all. And now that's the end of my program, but I want to introduce Ranger Liz Schilder. She's been a Quiet Waters Park Ranger for 8 years. She's a native of Annapolis. She loves the outdoors. She leads periodic hikes, nighttime hikes at Quiet Waters Park. She also leads the toddler hikes during the day and a whole range of other activities. And she encourages everyone to get out and explore the park. And she'll be at our April 15th event at Quiet Waters Park too. And we can take questions afterwards if anybody's got any.
All right. Hello, everybody. I'm going to second Catherine's on that Night Magic book. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. It's a great book. So I'm Ranger Liz. I am over at Quiet Waters Park. I've been there almost 8 years now. And nighttime is definitely very different at Quiet Waters Park than it is during the day. And some of you probably have experienced some nighttime there if you've come ice skating in the winter. And of course, it's very lit up when we've got ice skating going on. But normally we're not open after dark. We close at sunset. But there's tons of wildlife and things within the park. And right now, one of the big things is our spotted salamanders. Catherine mentioned those in her talk. We have a bunch of those that I don't know exactly the timing of it, but it's usually after a good rain. About this time of year, they'll start migrating to the vernal pools, and they only do that at night. So that's pretty cool. And it's amazing that we've got a place that's not open at night. It's much safer for them to be able to get across the road, get to the vernal pools. Has anyone been down to Jug Bay in the southern part of the county? They do, in March, they'll do a night where they'll help the salamanders get across the busy roads down there to help prevent them from getting run over. So salamanders are a great nighttime animal. We, of course, have a large deer population in Quiet Waters. They're often active at night. One of my favorites, the raccoons. Lots of raccoons that are active in the park at night, as well as possums. So good mammal activity at night. We also have great bat populations in the park. They're not going to be very active quite yet, but they come out at night. They're not pollinators here. They're insect eaters here, but that's good for us. The more mosquitoes they eat, the better it is for me. And I have done a couple of night hikes at the park. Sadly, the one I scheduled for this year was right when the big snowstorm hit. So I had 80 people signed up over 2 nights for my night hike. And it was really, really snowy and icy, and I had to delay it. And in the end, I had eight people come to the rescheduled one. And it was also super cold. So that didn't go as quite as I had hoped, but the park is very dark, as you can imagine. We do have street lights, but they're off when we're not there. There are some lights around some of our buildings, but not a ton. So there are places in the park that really are very, very dark. And you can get a great view of the sky depending on how the moon is. And really just get to just take in that darkness. Can be a little bit creepy how dark it is in there. But it is great to have that very dark sky in there. I am hoping to do a full moon hike sometime late spring or early summer if I can get that coordinated with close to whenever the full moon is. So keep an eye out for that. I'll have the friends put out an announcement about that. If you'd like a chance to kind of check out the park after hours and see what kinds of things are happening in there.
And I do want to say, particularly, you might be interested in this handout that's over here. It'll give you very specific information about the amount of light bulb coloration you should look for and the lumens, and it explains all the terms. There's a chart down here that shows the range of lighting, and then there's an assessment on the back if you want to take it and walk around your house, your property, look and see where you think there might be light that you want to do something about. You can make notes and maybe adapt your lighting and so forth. But so anybody's welcome to take that as well as postcards that are over there.
We'll take some questions.
Yeah, has anyone got
Get the one.
any questions? Yes,
Well, listen, you said the name of the scale that I couldn't find, is it a B?
What's your
Bortle.
Repeat the question.
Or BR?
It was what she asked what the scale was that rates the different areas for the light pollution. It's the Bortle scale, BORTEL, and it goes from 1 to 9. And Annapolis is often it depends on where you are in the city, but probably at a 6, and Baltimore is more like an 8.
Mm.
Yeah.
What about DC?
DC would be an 8, depending on where you're, maybe a 9 right in the middle of downtown. Yeah, it fluctuates, a little bit too. Any other questions? And if not, I sort of encourage you to look at the table. There's a lot of other information over there. You have a question? Because their eyes can't see it. She asked why red lights are good for animals in the dark, and it's because their eyes can't see the red light, so they don't see it as something sort of blinding them or affecting them, where our eyes can see it. So it's a really kind of nice option. You don't see too many red lights around on people's houses. It's got some funny connotations and so forth. But anyhow, I always wonder in my own yard when I flip on my red spotlights in the back what my neighbors think. But, I've got one dog that likes to hide out in the yard, and sometimes I have to go out and find him. And with the red light, I can see where he is. Yeah. Yes.
Can you send to the timeline on having Quiet Waters Park be common dark sky park?
Well, it may.
Repeat the question.
She asked how long it might take to get Quiet Waters certified. And I'm still, Quiet Waters is getting ready, as Liz knows, to renovate the visitor center and then the Blue Heron Center. And so I'm trying to get some information on the exterior lighting for the plans there. And that's sort of like the first step. So once I have that information, I can start on the process, but it can take 1 year to 2 years to go through it. I mean, Dark Sky is really careful the way you do it, but we've already got a board member of Dark Sky International who's very enthusiastic and knows the park. The man who was formerly the president of Dark Sky International a long time ago was the South River, was the head of the South River Federation before it became Arundel Rivers. So they're anxious to see Maryland get on their map.
And I will say that those renovations are slated, fingers crossed, to start in May. That has gotten delayed several times to get us to May, so I'm not making any promises there. And they're saying at least a year for the renovation. So just kind of, but it may be a little while.
But it won't slow down the process once. I just need to know what the plans are for the lighting, for the exterior lighting, because that's a first sort of ground level answer that I need to know to start the process.
And that would be our biggest spot that has lights.
Yeah.
I live in Hillsmere Shores, maybe a year, but a year ago, they put new bulbs and replaced all the lights. And they're much brighter.
Down at the marina?
No,
No.
throughout Hillsmere, all the street lights.
Oh, the street. Oh, yeah, I know. That's on a list of things that I'd like to work on. I've got a street light I can't stand right in front of my house. It's crazy. Yeah.
Deck, and we deck up 19 towns. And damn street lights on them.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Yeah, I had worked with Lock Haven, the community across the South River from Quiet Waters Park, and they had one particularly egregious BGE light. And BGE's been out there. We've not been able to accomplish exactly what we wanted. It's a process. Yeah, we need more people to express their interest in this issue.
Catherine, is that something people could reach directly out to BG&E about? What's the best way to?
Yeah, probably I would say politically to reach out to the county executive to say you're concerned about this. I mean, he has been great at releasing proclamations for International Dark Sky Week. They can probably save money on it, and retrofitting bulbs or whatever. I mean, it's not the hardest thing. So there be cost savings with that and so forth. And we did get legislation passed last year by the governor for the state of Maryland that means as of October of this year, any state funds that are used for lighting for parks, for city buildings and so forth, state buildings will need to try to meet dark sky standards that exempts highways. But so Governor Moore signed the legislation and it's supposed to go into effect in October. It doesn't mandate specifics, but it says we're going to be paying attention to this from now on. So that's a step. And if the state level does it, maybe you can get the local level to work on it too. Okay. All right. Well, thank you.